Okay, so now we need to look at the cost optimization a bit more detail. We'll not spend very good amount of time on this, but I just want to make sure that you understand what is the process. When we look at the cost optimization, primarily, guys, there are two optimizations which can be asked in the interview. One is the cost optimization, and another one is the performance optimization. So performance optimization, we just spoke, like you can plug Elastic Cache, you can plug CloudFront, you can use CloudFront service, you can use Elastic Cache service to improvise your performance. But over here, when you look at the cost optimization, there are few factors few sub factors, I would say, to look at. Okay. Now you can see for storage, you have multiple services in AWS. For database, you have multiple services. For network, you have multiple services. For compute, you have multiple services. Which one you are going to use when, and whether you are going to, uh, you know, use like this one or this one or this one, which one you are going to use, that's matter. That is very important because AWS has more than 150 plus services, and you can use any service for anything. Let's say if you look at the database, you can create the database using RDS, you can create the database using Redshift, you can create the database using Elastic Cache. But Elastic Cache has the best performance, but it is highly expensive. Elastic Cache is highly expensive because it is in memory database, whereas RDS is the cheapest one. So when you look at the cost optimization, you have to map the cost optimization with the performance optimization so that your performance is good and your cost is not very high. Okay. So first of all, you have to do right sizing. What is the meaning of right sizing? See, your organization, when you are designing an architecture, at that time, your organization will give you the requirements. First of all, you have to make sure that you are going to, you know, you're going to make sure that you're not giving a lot of resources upfront. Let's say you are trying to create a basic architecture and you say that I need 6 EC2 instances. But the problem is you can say that you need 10 EC2 instances, 20 EC2 instances, but it is not the right sizing. The way to do right sizing is that you will start with minimum number of EC2 instances, maybe one or two, and you will monitor. You will actually monitor the performance of your solution. If you think that one or two EC2 instances are not fulfilling the requirement, then you can plug more. That is known as right sizing. Right sizing means that you do the measurement before you actually propose anything. So you have to start your solution with bare minimum. Whatever is actually required, you will tell. And if you really want to increase, you will increase based on the performance of current solution. So I remember we were working on Thinkcloudly's portal. So where you guys watch recorded sessions, right? Over there, we were actually working on the solution architecture of Thinkcloudly. At that time, what we did, so we actually followed the best practice of right sizing. What we did, we actually kept one server first with 2 GB of RAM. This was the sizing we did initially, that okay, number of users are less. So now right now let's keep 2 GB of RAM. And we started receiving visitors. So all of you, all the students with us, they are the visitors to us. So what we did, we found that our servers was started crashing down, and this server was not reliable. It was not able to take the 100 of requests every day. Then we identified, no, 2 GB will not work. We need one more server of 2 GB, and it might be able to take the number of requests. So what we did, we proposed the basic bare minimum first. We observed the performance of it, and then we proposed that okay, one server is not helping us. Let's put another one. If there will be two servers, they will be able to take the request. That is how you do the pricing. So if you look at this solution, so you basically always keep on monitoring. Over here you do performance review and monitoring dashboard, you create that, and you look at your resources, how are they performing, and that's how you do the right sizing. You have to make sure that you're not proposing anything which is not making sense. If you do it at that point of time itself, you will lose in the interview. So when you go in the interview, you have to start from very basic minimum. And you need not to propose everything very expensive. Let's say you will in initial stage only you will say elastic cache, but elastic cache is expensive. Is it really important to propose elastic cache? No. Increased elasticity. So we have to make sure that our solution has the use we are using the auto scaling group. The auto scaling group. Over here, when we use auto scaling group, it will take care of the elasticity automatically. I mean, whether to use one server, whether to use two servers, whether to use three servers, it will take care of the elasticity automatically. Choosing the right pricing model. So I just showed you something over here that when you are configuring, let's say RDS, and there are multiple options you have to choose from this class, DB class. So over here, if you look at, you have like so many options. Okay, you can choose any one of them, but it will impact your pricing. So you have to choose the right model. Whether you will go with 1024 GB because it's a lot. It's actually terabyte of it will be too expensive. See, it is 8,806, which is very expensive every month. But you might not need it. You might need the cheaper one. So you will select something like this, the 4 GB one or 2 GB one. It is just $29 per month. So you have to make sure that whenever you are choosing some resources, you have to choose the class accordingly. So in your EC2, you might be studying EC2. In EC2, there are multiple things. So you have your reserved EC2 instance, on demand, spot instance, dedicated instance. So spot instances is one of the very cheapest one. Okay, but it has some disadvantages also. So if you can use spot instances, go with spot instances. It will help you to save 90% of your cost. So this is what is known as choose the right pricing model, that whether it is going to help you or not. And there is another pricing model also, which is like reserved. In reserved, you have to pay everything upfront. Like let's say for next 3 years, you will pay upfront in reserved case. But in on demand, you will pay every month based on the usage. So that's what you do in the pricing model. You have to make sure when you are choosing the pricing model, it does not have a lot of cost implications, and it has normal usage of your resources, which is the best, and which is not impacting the performance of your solution. So you have to go for a medium solution. That would I suggest you. Matching the demand, the same thing. Having like number of servers at the same time, like 6 7 servers, it doesn't help. What you have to keep the resources based on the demand. Otherwise, some of your resources will sit idle, and that's not good for your business. Let's imagine if I buy 5 laptops. I may afford 5 laptops, but is it a good thing to have 5 laptops? No. If my work can be done with one laptop, it's okay. I don't need 5 laptops. So that's what you have to do over here as well. So you have to keep only those servers which are required, those number of servers which are required for your solution. Do not keep unlimited servers which are not even required and which will sit idle. Like, okay, and always depend on measuring and monitoring. So being a cloud engineer or cloud architect, you have to always look at the the pricing it is costing you every month. So we always look at Thinkcloudly when we are running our own servers on EC2. We always look at the pricing, and we always look at the performance. We always look at the whether we need 2 servers or not. So we need maybe 5 servers. So we do this measuring, and we do monitoring, and on that basis we take decisions like what are the number of resources we need, whether we have to increase the number of resources or whether we have to decrease the number of resources. I I'm sure that you will say that go with auto scaling group. It will manage it automatically. That's the one solution to it. But auto scaling group works only in case of EC2. What about what? But there are maybe 149 services more. So that's where you have to do measuring and monitoring. Okay. So auto scaling group works only in the case of EC2, and and all others, let's say like all other services like RDS, like S3, RDS, load balancer, Route 53, all these services, they don't work on auto scaling group. So auto scaling group works only and only with EC2. So that's why you have to measure the demand, and you have to monitor these resources, other resources as well, so that it doesn't cost you much. Can you imagine that Netflix, if Netflix is having 60,000 servers, okay, so it's a very big work with them that they have to make sure that if 60,000 servers are required for their application, only then you will use 60,000 server. Otherwise, you don't need those 60,000 servers. Okay.
Thank you for watching. Switch from non-IT to IT today. Explore www.thinkcloudly.com.